We are live. It's Friday night. It's Friday night. We're live. There's been lots of Celtic news kicking around this afternoon. Let's get some people online first of all. Let's get some people on and get some comments up once the advert's finished. So, first up on comments. Pause that. Just turn the sound right down on this. There we go. Right, who's in the house? Paul Emery's in the house. Evening to you, Paul. And Derek is in the house from a freezing cold Aberdeen. Aberdeen, that's freezing cold. Why is that signal so poor? That's not so good. Tam Mack's in the house. San Fran Celtic is in the house also. So, where do we start? Where do we start tonight with the Celtic news? First of all, we need to talk about the big announcement that Celtic made this afternoon regarding the Player of the Year Awards ceremony for 2024. Previously, the event has been held in hotels in Glasgow, but this time it's going to be held in the Hydro. It's all about the money. It's all about the money with Celtic, isn't it? And this means that supporters will have the opportunity to be there in person and see their heroes receive the club awards at the end of the 23-24 season. So come the end of the year, come the end of the season, hopefully as champions of Scotland, the Player of the Year Awards, which is usually a black tie event, and the players will sit and they'll have dinner and stuff, and then everyone will give them a round of applause and they'll see what player gets Player of the Year, which player gets Young Player of the Year, etc. And give themselves a back on the back. But this year, it's going to the Hydro. There's going to be 11,000 tickets on sale. 11,000 tickets are on pre-sale for the event. Exclusively to season ticket holders, priced at £24 each. The cheapest one. Celtic, just the Celtic way. If there's any way that Celtic can monetize absolutely anything, I'm sure they'll find it. So that's one bit of news, obviously. I mean, it is a big thing. It is a big thing, and it is the way of Celtic just generating more and more money. Another bit of Celtic news I was wanting to talk about is the Celtic Trust. You might have seen the Celtic Trust on Twitter before, or excuse me, I just ate a pickled onion before I came on. The Celtic Trust are a collective fan group. They've been around for a long time now. They were heavily involved in a lot of stuff that goes on outside the club, and they want to make sure that they have a fan's voice on the board. Founded in, I think it was 2000, they were founded in. They have gained over 150,000 shares in Celtic. They've recently increased their number of shares by 10,000 odd. They've increased their total to 170,000 shares in Celtic. So collectively, they are now the 8th largest shareholder in Celtic. How do you feel about that? I know that the likes of Motherwell and stuff have went down the road of fan ownership, but how do you really feel about fan ownership? And I mean, understand, yes, we want a voice on the board, but now being the 8th largest shareholder, they're basically trying to make sure that it makes it impossible for one person to own 100% of the shares of the club, which is never going to happen anyway. It's never going to happen. It's supporters that have got the best heart at the club. So tell me what you think about the Celtic Trust. They obviously back the Green Brigade, trying to get the Green Brigade back in. But they do keep on trying to put a lot of pressure on the board, which is something that could be a good thing. Could be a good thing if we get a fan's voice on the board. But I'm a Trust member, but it's pointless, said Frank. So, yeah, I mean, I've been at a lot of meetings at the Celtic Supporters Club on London Road over the years ago, where the Celtic Trust were involved. And it's fine what they're trying to do and trying to get this voice on the board, but I mean, I back them in what they're trying to do, but personally, I don't see the point of it. Owning all those shares, especially when they don't get any money back for the shares, but it makes sure that no one person can take over. Anyway, so that's that out the road. We've had the news about the Celtic Big Friday announcement. Player of the Year awards. We can go and see it, and you could pay a minimum of €24, £24 even, £24. If Celtic could monetize their granny, they would. They certainly would. Right, talk about Daizen. Let's talk about Daizen because it was a big. I put the video out earlier as soon as I got info that Daizen was going to be out for 6 weeks. It's absolutely devastating news for Daizen, and it's a weird one. It's a weird one that he suffered a knee injury when, it was. Let's face it, it was his. He was his foot was on top of the other player's leg, so it's obviously jolted his knee, and he's came off worse. He's came off second best. So Maeda being out is going to give us lots of problems, lots and lots of problems. Let's jump back and we'll get some of the comments that have come in. So Smell the Glove has come in. He said, gutted for Daizen. Paul McEwen is in the house. North London is in the house. Teneres. Mark Brown. Our two main wingers are out now. Brutal man. Time for Mikey Johnson to get a good run in the team and show up. I'm going to die. Excuse me. Jesus, if this is what we're left with at Celtic, we are doomed. Where do we go? Let's get some more comments in first before we start talking about it. The board are holding money to protect him from a fan backlash. I don't think so. Don't think that's the reason that they're holding money, but the board are safe as long. Divide and conquer is a terrible strategy. It's a strategy that is well known within Tory ranks. That's all I'm going to say. As a trust member, San Francisco Celtic's been on that. I wouldn't let Michael Johnson into a beautiful team. Lorna Gallagher's in the house. Even you, Lorna, how are you this evening? Helen's in the house. Shocking news about Daizen. Yes, that's unbelievable. Having him out for the next 6 weeks takes him right into December. But at the same time that Leo Labada is due back. Rio Hatate is out for a lengthy time as well. And then when we look at the players, I mean, I'm always going to go back. We look at the team from last year. That's now 6 members of the first team from last year that are out of the team. We haven't brought anyone. The only player that's came in this season and made any little bit of difference to the club has been Luis Palma, and he almost could have been in Spain. Understand? At a second tier club in Spain. Smell the Glove says, I just want the board who can get a good 50-50 with spending and securing the club. That's an interesting one because I think that the club now is all about maximizing revenue as much as possible. You got to remember a few months back, Celtic made a statement that they had took on a new board member, and they took somebody that had worked for Apple down in London for the last 12 years. Now, these kind of things that are happening, Celtic TV and the subscription thing, they're pushing that on a regular basis, and he's all about bringing in income streams. You'll probably find that the dinner thing for the end of season was probably along his ideas, and he was probably thinking, let's sell tickets for it and then let's stream it live on Celtic TV also, which wouldn't surprise me if that happened, because that's the way that Celtic are going. They're definitely trying to generate as much income as they can. And is it fleecing fans? I mean, we brought out a strip this year that is never going to be worn. I've lost count how many strips that have been worn, and it's just not the Celtic way. It's not the Celtic. Well, is it the biscuit tin mentality on acid? Is this the new biscuit tin mentality? It's all, except it's not a biscuit tin; it's Bitcoin. So yeah, maybe they're investing it in Bitcoin and they're waiting for it to go up again. Mark Brown, he says, we have roughly the same amount of money in the bank as Man United. We have 77 odd million. And is that crazy? That can't be true. Man United have only got 77 million in the bank. The Glazers have fleeced Man United, haven't they? They have completely. Remember, Man United used to have like hundreds and hundreds of millions in the bank. They were the most cash-rich club in the world in the early 2000s. Margaret Hayes says, gutted that Maeda will be out for so long. I think we're all gutted. He's had such a good start to the season. Scott says, surely we'll actually see Tillo. I might even go to Mass and pray for him. He's playing with the B team, so Scott, I don't think we will, unfortunately. The Maeda haters will soon realise why he's vital to this team. Is there Maeda haters just now? Is Maeda hate? And we're back. We are back. I think we're back. Are we back live? I don't even know if it's live. Yes, we're back live. Wait a minute. Right, it seems to be back, but I'll deal with it last. I have no idea what happened there. Have we still got people online? Oh my goodness. Right, let's get back to the comments. Hooray, welcome back. I have actually no idea what just happened there. Surely the solar panels on Spain for enough juice at this time, right? Yep, they are. It's a StreamYard problem more than anything. Right. And breathe. God. let's get back to the comments. What we were talking about? Yeah, we're talking about looks like a Celtic TV. No, Celtic TV. You know what? You know, Celtic TV probably have sneaked in and stole my thunder. Right, let's get back to the Celtic headlines. Cameron Carter-Vickers saying that VAR is a good thing in the game. What do you think about that? Daizen Maeda. Say, wait a minute. Celtic stars visit Hoops Bar. Let me see what this is. There's a Celtic star has prayed for Daizen. Patty Turner is in the house. Yeah, Baz Wi-Fi is working again. Well, the StreamYard is absolutely gumped. Pray for Daizen. Well, Patrick's in from. I've totally lost the plot now. Do you know what I've done? I've done a Joe Hart. And I've completely lost the plot. Completely. What about Joe Hart? Right? I'm going to ask who watched the video from earlier today that I put up. Who watched the video from earlier today? Tell me in the comments if you watched the video. What was Joe Hart thinking when he crossed the line into his own net to try and save a goal? What was Joe Hart thinking? That's what I want to know, because when you look at that video this afternoon, it was I found it unbelievable. Now at the game, I was at the other end of the pitch, so we didn't realise what he had actually did. Maeda was good for the team. We need a big striker. We need Daizen back to keep penalty Tav in his back pocket. If Daizen's out for that long, Jeffrey, he's come up. Yeah. What was Joe Hart thinking? Because he steps over the line, and he doesn't just step he doesn't just step over the line with 2 feet. He actually steps over the line by about 3 steps. And then he tries to hit that ball up the way as if he's going to put it over. And he puts the ball into the roof of the net. It's like, what? And a few years ago, we absolutely ripped the mince out of Sevconians when their TV went, "What's the goalie doing, Tam? Tam, what's the goalie doing?" But it's like, watched Keller for Liverpool last night. I'd rather keep Joe Hart, says Chris. Was he playing for Liverpool last night? Well, that's an interesting one. There is a news story kicking around about a player that was on the Celtic radar. And let me just see what this is. Cameron Carter-Vickers was in Gracies. Wow. Cameron Carter-Vickers was spotted in Gracies this afternoon. Wow, that's just the story that I really could have done without in my life. Right, back to the goalkeeping situation. Remember a few months ago, the Real Madrid goalkeeper, Andre Lunin, was linked with a potential summer or Christmas move to Celtic. Well, there's been a bit of speculation with that. I mean, we're all in the opinion that Joe Hart, his time at Celtic needs to come to an end as a first choice goalkeeper. We need to get someone else in. The fact that the wife of £11 million goalkeeper at Real Madrid, Andre Lunin, his missus has said he will leave the club as long as he gets to play more regular first team football. Will Celtic go for him? His missus has basically said on social media that he will leave the club if he's guaranteed first team football. Celtic could give him first team football. They could also give him Champions League football. Would he come? Here is the big question. Would he come to play Dundee away? Kilmarnock away, not crappy pitch. Livingston away. Once the wife speaks, you all know what that means. Yeah, Mark Brown, we all know what that means because we can ask a certain Celtic defender. Once that we can ask one Celtic defender, and he moved to the worst part of Spain. Sorry, Carol Starfelt. I mean, lovely guy and everything, but you moved to the wrong part of Spain. James Gregg says that 11 million, not a chance that we will go for £11 million keeper. We have the money in the bank. We need to spend some kind of decent money and bring a decent goalkeeper in. We need players that like to improve. Jeff, Jesus. Oh, man, that need to improve. We've got a full team of players that need to improve. And I'm getting, personally, we're going to whisper this one. I'm getting fed up with Brendan Rodgers saying it's this potential. We're getting thrown this line for this potential. It's starting to sound like a Tory party bloody conference, Celtic media every week, talking about players that are potential. We need to bring players in that have more than potential. We need to bring players in that can make us better. And let's face it, we need to do that with a goalkeeper. Cameron Carter-Vickers was only in graces to sign football tops, yet it's managed to make headlines. It's absolutely nuts. Your eyes are better than mine. Yeah, obviously. John says, Starfelt still dumped. Starfelt still dumped. I have no idea. Has he been dumped by his missus? I don't think so. Joe Hart will be embarrassed himself. Joe Hart hopefully would be embarrassed. What was he doing though? I mean, for a goalkeeper to go that far over his line, for me, was absolutely unbelievable. If you haven't seen the video, check out the video that I posted this afternoon. Was it this afternoon or this morning? I can't remember. I think it was some point today. I posted the video and it shows you Joe Hart, and I put it in slow motion, and we actually flick it back and forward, and it shows you Joe Hart crossing the line. I mean, maybe he shouldn't have crossed the line. It was bad enough that in the first half of the game, he argued with the ball boy behind the goal. But anyway, David Gemmell says Cameron Carter-Vickers. We're going to get onto the team selection just shortly. We'll get onto the team selection. CCV and Scales are both ordinary. When I think back to O'Neill's centre backs at Celtic, that was 20 years ago now. That was 20 years ago, and Big Bob Baldy was something completely different. And Valharn and everybody back then, it was a completely different. We're not buying in players that have been there around the block a bit, let's say. Boot Seagrass arse and get him playing. Paul Bell says Brendan has to take some responsibility for the team and has team selection. He does, Paul, and I think it's not just about the team selection. I think it's about the setup. I think we should have went a little bit more defensive minded. And I know it's not the Celtic way to maybe go 5 at the back against a team like that, but I mean we've not got what it takes to play 5 at the back, I don't think. But yeah, Brendan does have to take. He picked it, but then he made a lot of substitutions, and even they weren't good enough. Shows you the squad really isn't good enough at that level. James Gregg says, book Seagrass arse and get him playing. Couldn't be any worse. That's probably true. But then again, it says a lot to the media, and not just the board, it seems. Brendan knows what the board before he was here. Yep. Baldy, I didn't rate. It's just a bruiser. Malby was good. Malby was good at the time. I thought Hart was just trying to pull him. I don't even want to talk about Joe Hart anymore. After seeing that footage, the Govan Emeralds is in the house as always. Excellent. Fantastic, lads. I've totally lost the plot again. I've done a Joe Hart. Cameron Carter-Vickers is too slow. We need pace in the middle of the defence. We need pace in the middle of the defence. We just need two defenders that are on the same wavelength, and they've got that. I mean, it's fine. Brendan Rodgers saying, look, Liam Scales a couple of seasons ago was sort of playing lower league football, and now we're expecting them to perform at the highest level, the Champions League. And it always comes back to Brendan Rodgers is always coming back to this word potential. And it seems that the board have instilled this in him, saying, look, you need to make this potential work. You need to make this potential work. Could you imagine if the previous manager had been told, like, you need to bring in potential and make it work? He was given good money to spend. He was given 30 million to spend in his first season. Could you imagine what might have happened if Brendan Rodgers was given 30 million to spend this summer? Would we have went that far? Well, let's put it this way: when we brought in, and I know it wasn't the total, we didn't bank the total of 25 million, something like about 18 million or something, or whatever it was for Jota. But even if we had reinvested that wisely, and I think there's been a lot of things said about players that we've brought in just not being to the good standards. So have we invested wisely at Celtic? And I think realistically, no. Because bringing in potential is just not what we need at the moment. Baz, we need to start getting players in. Stop moaning about Ange deal. Yep, we need to do that. Now a game on Sunday. Phillips rubbish. Send them back. The first team needs. We don't need tire kickers. We don't need players to come in and just get their fitness at Celtic. Who will replace Maeda on the wing? Can anyone fill his boots and energy? Not at all. And not at all. Completely. You and Ferguson serve Bohemians in 2021. Who will right? Get your team selections up, because I'm going to say I have not got a clue what team Brendan Rodgers will play this weekend. I have not got a clue. And Ange never got prospects to play. Yeah, Ange never got prospects to play. That's the thing. And Rodgers aborted mission in the second half in Madrid. Analysis is pointless. Nothing concerns me about the second half. Normal service will be resumed. Normal service will be resumed this weekend. Will it? I mean, it will, but it's Scottish football, and you would expect it. But I don't know. When you think about it, Aberdeen play us. I mean, they've came off of, I think they've won 3 out of the last 5 games, Aberdeen. So they're not playing too bad. I'm sure I think they drew in Europe, and they then play Sevco at home after us. Now, there's every chance that they might do what they usually do to Sevco and beat them. So you never know. They will try and get as good a result off us as possible, and that'll be defensive as possible. Have we got what it takes to break them down after the way that we played during the week? I don't know. I'm concerned about this weekend. I've not got a good feeling about it. And I think it might be another draw, which is not what we need. But I just think there's something wrong with this team just now. Be it, I don't think it's with the manager. But I think it's the players don't believe in themselves enough. But then maybe that does come down to the manager. The manager's trying to instill this confidence into a team of young guys that are, and let's face it, they were absolutely annihilated. Calmack is the only one who never stops. O'Reilly was poor. Let's get your teams up for the game on Sunday. Who do you think will play? You think we'll play Palmer on the left and Forrest or Yang on the right? You're probably right with that one. Palmer can change sides. So I'm probably going to go for Palmer and Forrest on the wing. He'll go with experience. You know what Brendan Rodgers is like. He'll go with experience. Phillips has been okay. I remember he held Lager Valky together, played a vital part of us beating the Sevconians. That's why we play in Scotland. David Gemmell. I'm not even going to post that, David. I'll go to your next comment. I'm not posting that one. Not a chance. Not a chance will I post that. Sorry. I have seen your comment, David, but I'll go to the next one. Celtic brought to blame. That's why we didn't win 10 titles on the trot. I have no idea who will be playing. And I'm free on Sunday. I will play. Couldn't be any worse than the team on Tuesday. Lorna Gallagher, you're getting the shout. Right, Jeff has come up. Referee's come up. Ralston, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Calmack, O'Reilly, Yang, Mikey, O, Kyogo, and Hart. Jesus, Jeffrey. Oh my Jesus. Rodgers pulled off big players in the second half to send a message to the board. I'm glad Rodgers is sending that signal. Do you think that was to really send that signal that say, look, this is the bench and it's not good enough. This is the bench. This is what happens when you bring in a lot of potential. He keeps on using that word. Is he sending subliminal message? Is Brendan Rodgers sending a subliminal message to the Celtic board with his consistent potential comments? talking about players having potential and he's having to bring on that potential. Is it maybe a saying that's been too much at meetings with Brendan? And he's saying that, look, this is the potential. This is the potential. This is the potential. What will happen? What happened in Madrid is what we sometimes do to teams in the SPFL. Champions League football is not our level. The proof is there. Sad to say, we knew Green Machine that it wasn't our level at the beginning of the season, and we all said, look, we just want to give ourselves a good account of ourselves and finish third. It was never about finishing second. It was never about finishing top. It was just the fact that if we can give a good enough account of ourselves to get enough points on the board to finish third this season, that would have been a massive step, as far as every Celtic fan all around the world would have said that that was a massive improvement on last season. If we had managed to have better performances so that we could finish third in the Champions League, everyone, we wouldn't be complaining. If we had got beaten 6-0, but still finished third in the group, there's no chances of finishing third now. There's absolutely no chance, right? But if we had finished third in the group, and even after that 6-0 beating, if we were still in a position, we would say, look, we'll take it on the chin. It's a team that's going to be up there in the last, they're going to go to the last 16 of the Champions League. They're probably going to go to the last 8 of the Champions League anyway. So we would say we'll take it on the chin and move on. But we're not. That's the thing, we're not. Maeda, replaced by Yang, some team as per usual with Ohm in midfield. Same team as usual with Ohm in midfield, do you think? Who are you going to drop out in midfield? Obviously, the Maeda is out, so you're replacing him by Yang. Are you going to leave Paulo Bernardo out? That's an interesting one. International break has finally come. A good time for us. Plus, it might hold the Huns' media momentum at the same time. It's always been the case since the 1990s, Smeller Glove, and you'll remember these days as much as I do. It was always a case of you try and win as much media attention as possible. I think Celtic have put a bit of an own goal this week. It's interesting that they released information to, obviously, the press about the Green Brigade thing, and then, it's this whole statement FC stuff. And then they come out today with a good news story to try and deflect away from the bad media that Celtic have been getting. I think the PR machine has went absolutely nuts. Paul Bear says, I don't agree with the Tories on the board. Brendan Rodgers must. What's happening before he came back? Yep. Paul, what do you think the score will be on Sunday? What do you think the score will be on Sunday? And it's always the same. Lorna, where is this guy Tilo? Remember we seen the Rangers coming? It's like, where's Marco Tilo? Give the Vata a run out. James, I've got a funny feeling that the reason that he's not getting a run out in the first team is because he doesn't want to sign a new contract with Celtic. So he has he's getting left in the B team, which is unfortunate. But it seems to be that that's the way that Celtic wanted to go. I put a video the other day. It's like Paul McStay at 17-year-old wouldn't get into this first team, and look how good Paul McStay was at 17-year-old. Mark Brown finally has come up with a team. Hart, Alistair Johnson, Carter Vickers, Scales, Greg Taylor, Calmack, Ohm, O'Reilly, Palmer, Kyogo, and Mikey Johnston. Mikey Johnson, I don't know about that one. God not for us, says John. David says facts though. You have to tell the facts, guys, man. Yeah, you have to tell the facts. You have to tell the facts. Smell the glove. I agree. We need time out in an international break. Clark plays Ferguson and rest Callum. Do we need this international break? Will it benefit Celtic in any way? With Maeda injured, we'll be doing well to keep the 5-point gap ahead of Sevco, leading into the next Glasgow derby. I hope we can keep the gap as big as possible. David hits it on the head. Cameron Carter-Vickers and Scales are okay in Scotland only. You've probably got something on that, because you've got to remember that Cameron Carter-Vickers was passed about like and there's the phone. Who's this? Just my mother. She can wait. Yeah, Cameron Carter-Vickers had been at a few clubs when he was before he came to Celtic, and nobody wanted to take him full time. But he came up to Scotland and he managed to do a thing. Surely we'll go 3-5-2. Surely we'll go 3-5-2 against an Aberdeen side that will probably come out and have a go at us. Aberdeen will definitely have a go. Barry Robson will not want to sit back and play defensively at all. I don't think. I don't think at all. They're definitely going to have a go. So it'll be interesting to see how they set up. Will Celtic go for a 3-5-2? I can't see it. I cannot see it. Yang will get the shout, says John. Hopefully. GT Boy says Bain. Alistair Johnson, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Awata, Calmac. Interesting that you're going with Awata and Calmac. Matt O'Reilly, Kyogo, Palmer, and O. And that's an interesting one. That's a very, very good team when you look at it on paper. 4 at the back, Awata playing just that holding midfield role, allowing Callum McGregor to go a little bit further forward with Matt O'Reilly and Palmer, Kyogo on the wing, and O through the middle. It's an interesting one. That is an interesting one, JT Boy. That is actually a really good. That's a good shout. Maybe not the Bain one. I don't think, in all honesty, I don't think that Joe Hart will get dropped. Can't underestimate the importance of the goalkeeping position. We need a world-class keeper, which gives the defence a rest and the rest of the team confidence. Tom, you have hit the nail on the head. When you look back when we had the holy goalie at Celtic, and that was at a time we had some really good defenders, but we had a goalkeeper that that could shout, that would come out, that would dominate his box. Even when we had big Fraser Foster wasn't a big talker. Fraser Foster wasn't a very good communicator with his defence. I mean, he was a good keeper and he done well for us at Celtic at the time, but I don't think he was the holy goalie type of keeper. And I think that's the type of keeper that we do need. Somebody that talks a lot and can dominate. And you want a keeper that the defenders turn around and go, "Will you shut you're doing my head in." That's what the holy goalie was like. You know, that's what the holy goalie was like. Who was it that they almost had a fight with, remember? Celtic player, middle of a game. And that's what you want. You want the players to be like, holy goalie, be shouting. We need a keeper that is just going to be shouting at the back 4. Calmac needs a break. Talking about the Scotland game, Aberdeen, she'll try with their ex-Celtic manager, Barry Robson. I think they're definitely going to go for it. Right, Stuart is up. Hart, Taylor, Johnson, Carter Vickers, Scales, McGregor, O'Reilly, Paulo Bernardo again. Did Paulo Bernardo do enough for you in Madrid? I was talking to a couple of guys in Madrid, and they say that they go to games every week, and they don't see enough from Paulo Bernardo off the ball to see that he's going to be this amazing player. He's definitely not going to be a Jota type player, and they don't think that he's going to have the same impact as Jota had. So that was interesting. And this is, you've got to remember, when you're watching it on the telly, you don't see everything that's going on the pitch. It's following the ball around. They're at games every week, and they're saying that they're not seeing enough from him off the ball to think he's going to be this magnificent player. Anyway, then you go with Forrest, Kyogo, and Palmer, Stuart. That's an interesting team also. But I like the one with Hatat. Who was it? Who was it that put that one up? Come up. Wow, it was that one there. I'll show that one. I'm keeping. And that one, GT Boy, he says put a Watan. I think that was a good shout. Very good shout. They may even win. No, not at all. Let's be honest. Baz, Celtic will only get stronger for January onwards with the player back and good signings. Therefore, we'll win all the games up to the derby, and then we'll win the league. Agree. I think we're going to win the league anyway. I think we're still strong enough. The manager's too good a manager for us to drop the points that we've dropped. He's been around the block with us. He knows what it takes to win. We might not win the double, I don't think that we're. You never know. You never know. But I don't think we'll win the double. Would that be a bad season? It would definitely be a bad season under Brendan Rodgers if he didn't win a double. Considering of his, why does the screen keep on freezing? It shouldn't keep on freezing. If it is this damn software. Anyone else seen the screen freezing? I'm now jumping through the comments. And Simpson, Craig, Gemmell, baby, we've got class. Yep. Tom's going for 2-0. John is going for 3-1. And let's get some teams in. Thankfully, Blues drugs get me through the 90s. Smell the glove. You and me both. It was a fantastic time to be alive. Always said that Paul Baird said Rodgers knows the board and worked as there before. That's an interesting comment. He was there before he walked first time halfway through the season. He should never have been brought back. A disgrace by the board. It's an interesting one. And as I always, you know my thoughts on this, that he walked. He didn't really walk, but that was down to Lowell. But we move on from it. We move on. Here is Mikey Johnston's last chance. He has 6 weeks to show what he's about. Then bye in January. Paul is going for 3-0 on Sunday, and he'll be there. We'll be there. Yep, lads. We need some time out to regroup. Yeah, I think we probably do. And for Brendan Rodgers to get some time on the training pitch and tactics, because at this time of year, the management team do not get time to do anything tactically with the team. It's all just about maintaining fitness and recovery, and especially when you've got 3 weeks. So hopefully this break of the week and a bit will give the manager time to get some players' fitness levels back to a decent fitness level and tactically astute. You know, it's time to get back to some tactical training. Hopefully they'll do that. Green Machine says Aberdeen have been playing better away from home, so it's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be difficult. They've won three out of the last 5 games. They've won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1. So yes. Do you think Rocky can force his way into this defence? I think Liam Scales is a couple of games away from letting Rocky back into the team. I'll be honest with that. I think that Liam Scales, the way that he's talking, you're just thinking about his mindset now. If he can keep his mindset there and keep doing what he's doing week in, week out, but I think he's a couple of games away for Rocky forcing his way back in. I don't know. The reason Taylor was not playing is because he's not Brendan Rodgers signing, and he won't start the game under Brendan Rodgers this season. It's because if you listen what Brendan said about Taylor about a month and a half ago, he said like, the boy was struggling with the pace of the game. The pace of the training. So he was struggling with the pace of the training. So they put him into the B team so that he could work up his fitness and get sort of used to living in Scotland, and then work his way up from the B team, which I thought was interesting because you've got to remember Tom Rodgers was kind of the same when he came to Celtic. Tom Rodgers was in and out the team like nothing. I'm sure Tom Rodgers never got anywhere near the first team his first season. Hail, Baz, too many players not getting their chances. Brendan Rodgers seems to be in the huff and not playing Ange players. That's an interesting one, Joe. I don't think that's the case. I think he's playing players that he sees in training is are more committed and are fitter. Melbourne's in the house. Good morning, Melbourne, Australia. He says the team: Hart, Taylor, Scales, Cameron Carter Vickers, Alistair Johnson, Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly, Owen Palmer, Yang, and Kyogo. I would like to see O getting a decent run in the second half. So, from Melbourne, Australia, what can you tell us about Marco Tillo and the type of player that he was? And why is he not getting a game for Celtic? Why do you think? Never make your asthma wait. It's only a WhatsApp. She's asking me why we've got palm trees cut today. It's nothing important, honestly. I reckon Donch will have a go. Yes. I think they'll have a go. Also, where is that one? Let's get that one up. I reckon the Dons will have a go. Good to see your team. It's not good when teams have a go. I think they'll have a go, and I think that they'll push Celtic back, and it'll make it difficult for the supporters. And it's always going to be the case that when we're pushed back at Celtic Park, we really need to get behind the team, and hopefully we can do that this weekend. Reese, how are you this evening? Aberdeen can be a difficult team to beat, but once they switch on, don't get cocky. 2-1 is my prediction. I think it's going to be a really tight game, a really, really tight game. And it could be one of those ones where we score a goal in the 85th minute, 87th minute. You know, it's going to be one of those ones. There's every chance that Aberdeen will go 1-0 up. That's my prediction also. We don't start playing until we are sometimes a goal behind, recently in the Scottish Premier League. So I think it's going to be a really tough game. They'll be up with their tails after the result in Greece. Yep. Was it 2-2 in Greece there once? So, yeah. The gap is currently 8 points. Their game in hand is not a gimme. Who's their game in hand against, though? And look, I'm not going to say it's a gimme, but I think it's going to be very, very close. I think the point gap that we have just now will not increase too much between now and the end of the season. It'll only increase if we beat them. That's the only way I think it's going to increase. Any win on Sunday, just get the 3 points. Yep, I'm not even going to make a score prediction. I think it's going to be a 2-1 game, if that, or a 1-0. I think that we have got... Our defence isn't good enough to keep a clean sheet. I don't think our defence is good enough to keep a clean sheet, and that's the worrying point. And I think Aberdeen will go for the juggler and try and get a goal early on to try and make sure that Celtic Park is completely silenced. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Right, next one. Boy, Awata holding Calmac pushing on with Matt O'Reilly just behind Okiogo on the wing. That's an interesting one. I think that's the ideal thing, but will Awata get the shout? This is it. That is it. I don't think Hart's getting dropped. No, Peter, I don't think Hart is getting dropped. Also, you need a few drinks. You've been watching Bain and goal. I'm diluting just earlier. Watching the county game, Calmac was sitting in front of the two centre backs and was rarely broke forward. Yeah, I think he's getting played in the wrong position. But he'll probably complain about the bus hard to play against. So why wanting us to do the same? I think at that level, Joseph, at the Champions League level, sometimes that we need to look at the level that we are at as a team and look at the type of players that we've got. And I know it's not the Celtic way to sit back and try and defend, but at 2-0 at half time, at 2-0, you've got a chance to try and tighten up the midfield. And I'm not saying go 5 at the back, but don't go 2 up front. I wouldn't have went 2 up front at that game, and I would have tried to make it a little bit harder for us to get through, which we didn't. And it made it was unbelievable. They just sailed through us on Tuesday evening. Anyway, watching play them often. Let's face it, between now and January, Awata, Yang, Ohm, Big Rocky, Mikey, and Turnbull will all have to step up their game. Yeah, they are going to have to. They're going to have to. That's definitely. Fraser Foster is better than Joe Hart. If he was better than Joe Hart, he would have got into the England team and he would have got more caps than Joe Hart. Joe Hart had 75 caps for England. So they can be as good as they want in Scotland for Celtic, but when it comes to it, and you look at their careers, Joe Hart has had the better career than Fraser Foster. Fraser Foster's been number 2 for far too long, if you ask me, in his career. Michael says Lowell's feud with the Green Brigade is a massive distraction and needs to be removed. A lot of people say the Green Brigade need to be removed, and a lot of people say Lowell need to be removed. I think it's something that it's just a nonsense, absolute nonsense. Holy goalie. Yep. It was that. Let's get some more of your comments. Holy goalie wasn't for me. Prefers Foster, says David. Borage was magic. Yeah, met Gorham once. Ignorant. I think the holy goalie do with these types. Rocky needs game time. Underrated. If Rocky needs game time, what about Gustav? Lager Belke. Gustav. Lager, Gustav. Anyway, Peter Latchford came to primary school. I think Ohm start on Sunday. We keep forgetting about Ohm. Yep, we do. The league is all that matters. Yes, the league, that is all that matters. I would forgo, and it's a good, when you go to games on a weekly basis, the Scottish Cup is the pinnacle of the season, because it is the last game of the season. When you win the league, and you know you've got the Scottish Cups to go. When you know you've got the Scottish Cup to go, it's a cracking day out. The guys that run buses usually try and organise pubs and everything, and it's usually a really good day out. And it's the last game of the season, and then you go there with good spirits, and you're thinking, yes, well, if you're the run that Celtic's been on over the years, you know, there's a chance to get a treble, but it could be a chance to get a double. And then when you get that chance to win that Scottish Cup at the end of the season, you've then got the whole summer to be happy about it. There's nothing worse than getting to the last game of the season and we've won the league, and then we're not in the Scottish Cup, or we're not in the Scottish Cup final, and then they get the sort of the glory spills for the season. So yeah, but the league is absolute everything. We need to win the double. If we win the league, it's not good enough, says Mark. So opposing points there. Michael says the league is all that matters, and then Mark says we need the double. Don't know about Paolo Bernardo. He's a big lump. He's been very safe in his game so far, but there's no wow factor there. Can't figure him out at all. Yeah, I asked quite a few guys in Madrid about him, and then that's what they were saying. Bobby Lennox told me outside Celtic Park, bottom of the steps. Not a good time in 1990. Yeah, 1970. Yep. We did not turn up. Yeah, we didn't turn up. That was way before my time. I've got a lot of pictures with Bobby Lennox as well. Your screen's been good since we lost you, says John. Cheers for that, John. Jump through the comments. Scales. Give Scales a rest for a few months and try Rocky. Give Scales a rest for a few months. Do you think that would benefit Scales, or do you think that would turn the heating on if it's freezing? So, Stephen, come on, are you drunk? 6-0 and Mikey Johnson to run amok. Oh my goodness. Do you really think Brendan Rodgers will stay for his contract? Probably. Yes, I think Brendan Rodgers will stay for the duration of his contract. His contract might not get extended, but Paul will definitely be here for the 3 years. He won't jump ship before it. Not a chance. Not a chance. He would have to get pushed this time, and I don't think Celtic would push him with the kind of money he's on. But Brendan Rodgers will be here for 3 years, and he'll try his best as he can as a manager with the resources that he's given. And this is what you've always got to put it down to, with the resources that he's given. But it is what it is. I don't even want to think about it. Because then it comes down to transfer windows and then what the board. Let's discuss Lawwell. His next one coming up. Jeffrey says Aberdeen played Thursday. I'm feeling it's going to be 4-0. We play on the Sunday. We've had that little day extra rest. I did wonder why we were playing on the Sunday. Then I seen that Aberdeen obviously were in Europe. Michael wants to talk about Lawwell. The big Peter Lawwell. The big PL. Do we have to? That would just ruin my Friday night. Smell the Glove said, the league is all that matters. Can't have the Huns hitting 60 million. Champions League set. No, we can't. We need to win the league, and we need to make sure that we get that 60 million for next season. 4-1 Celtic home with a goal, and Kyogo with a couple. I feel it. Kyogo, people are wondering if Kyogo is 100% fit. Is he still worried about that shoulder? That's a question that needs asked. The final was a week later. I guaranteed that Celtic would have had that, but bonus for win. 6-0 Sunday. 6-0. Not a chance. Cameron Carter-Vickers is not at his best. Cameron Carter-Vickers looked, when he was at the press conference that was put out today, he looked a bit I don't know. It was weird. His body language wasn't right. His body language, it was very defensive. I thought he was listening very carefully to all the questions being asked and made sure that he gave a measured response, which was interesting. Lorna is going for 3-0. I believe the boys can get a win. I think they will win, but it's going to be a tight game. I don't think it's going to be a 3-0. What's the bonus for the big trophy? I'm not exactly sure. Not sure about that. I think they'll get a goal. Yeah, I think they're going to get a goal. -11. It's going to be on Sunday. Who does Sevco play this weekend? Aberdeen emptied their tank against Port yesterday. That's an interesting one. They'll probably have a European hangover, which suits us. Will Aberdeen have the hangover? Even though we got absolutely tanked in Europe, Aberdeen gave their all. I don't know. Also, Baz, the board today sat around the table and said, we want to make Celtic a team to be feared in Europe again. Yes, we all remember that. We all remember when Ange Postecoglou was brought in and they said, we want to make Celtic a team again and a force in Europe and all this nonsense a few years ago. And here we are, a few years later, getting absolutely tanked in the Champions League 6-0. When was the last time I got beat 6-0? Brendan Rodgers is full excuses, says Paul. Screen froze. Let it go. Let it go. When Ange came in the door, rolling 18 months, we went downhill. Terrible board. Yep, we have went down board. Tilo, there we go. Tilo seems to have a facial structure. Okay. Stuart says he's going for 3-1. Do you think we will have any chance of taking all 3 points off Lazio and Feyenoord? No, I'm not confident about the Champions League at all now. I think that this team of players are scared at that level. I think that the Callum McGregor must be fearing the worst going into the Champions League now because he's with a squad of players that, when you look at the players that Callum McGregor's played with over the years and has little bits of success in Europe, I don't think that he is 100% confident in these players that are at that team. He'll never say that publicly. He'll definitely most never say that publicly. He would never say a bad word about anybody at Celtic, but it's just his body language, if you ask me. Just his body language and trying to work these players up. And I don't know, I mean, he's no Scott Brown in that department and the sort of in the huddle and trying to motivate players as much as we can. He's doing it his way. But I just think that he personally thinks, and it's just my thinking out loud, I think he knows that his body language tells me that he's not 100% confident of every single player that's on the pitch for Celtic at this moment. Tell me what you think about that. So, yeah, do you think we've got any chance? No, that's the answer, John. Brendan won't throw Tilo in unless he feels ready. It's true, palm trees in the UK makes you feel warmer. Does that. Does that. We need to fall down screaming again and feign injury till the Krupp VAR is checked out. It's the mighty Dons. It's not the Celtic way. Yes, Mammy is always important. Yes, she is. She is that. She is that. I'll get back to her. My brother's already replied to her. So I don't know why he's replying to her. Jesus. I'm not even going to... My brother's now winding my mother up. And anyway, move on from it. Sandwich Boy, he says, we're more than enough in the tank against Aberdeen. Longer than then to recover and process from. David is going for 1-1. Please don't start with crazy predictions, people, because every time I see it, we drop points. Shush, this is true. How many times have we had some crazy predictions on here, and it's just not worked. It's just not worked at all. Segrist and goals. It's not froze, it's just me. Segrist and goals, back for the usual Bernardo, O'Reilly, McGregor, midfield with Kogio, Palmer, and Mikey Johnston up front. Oh, do you think Mikey Johnston is going to make it at Celtic? Don't know, Baz. I have the solution to VAR, mate. Don't use VAR for outfield instance. Use it for goals and offsides. there was an offside given against Daizen Maeda, and VAR was used. I think it's the positioning of the cameras for VAR and the technology that seem to be using in Scotland is like Commodore 64. We've got the Commodore. In fact, we've got the Commodore 64 version of VAR in Scotland. If you don't know what Commodore 64 is, go back and Google it. Go back and Google it. We ain't winning the title this season, I guarantee it. Yeah, I'm going to ban you. I'm going to ban you. That's it. You're going to make us sound like a Man United channel at this rate. You're going to make us sound like a Man United channel. Don's manager. He may be Celtic win. Barry Robson. See, two quarters with goal difference. Have they? No, they've not. Have they? Let me double check. No, they've not. Let's get the goal difference up. As long as we're still ahead by 4 or 5 points, any goal. No, they've not. We're on 21 of a goal difference, and the Rangers are on 18. So we are still ahead of them in goal difference, even though they've got a game in hand. They would need to win 4-5-0 their next game to go ahead of us in goal difference. And that's never going to happen. He says, hopefully. So, yeah, they're not ahead of us in goal difference. I'm just looking at the table just now. Michael Ross, come on, are you actually going crazy? Controversial take, but I don't think Kyogo should start this game. The man deserves a rest. Reese, I always respect your comments because you're usually pretty level-headed with these type of things, and I think you might be onto something. Should we play O from the start? Should we change the formation slightly? And we always thought if we had to, we would play Daizen Maeda through the middle. Daizen Maeda's now out injured, so it would just be O himself through the middle. Is that really a good idea? That is controversial, Reese. I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to star that one. Tom, he says, I don't like the idea of Colwood on the wing. Keep him in the middle. Yeah, you need to play him and they don't both play through the middle together. That's the thing. It's the weirdest thing. Rangers will pick up injuries. All teams do. And I think it'll be a win on Sunday. David, can play the strengths of the team. This is that's not good enough for Europe. Including Europe. Team needs made stronger. We are 8. We're not 8 points and 3 goals in front. Yeah, we're 8 points. We're more than 3 goals. Yeah, we're 3 goals in front and 8 points. So yeah, you're right. And I want my VAR. Even in England, none have spoken. That was a good goalie. Yeah. You blind? Me? Nah. I put these on as a disguise just so nobody recognises me. Yeah, I'm kidding. Foster was much better than the goalie over Hart. Much better goalie over Hart. I'm not saying that he was not, but when you get to your end, when the two of them get to the end of their careers, who's played at the highest level more? Who's won more trophies? And that's all that really counts. You know, when you get to the end of their career and the two of them are coming towards the end of the career, when you look at the stats, unfortunately, David, it's going to show that Fraser Foster wasn't as good as Joe Hart. Purely for the fact that Joe Hart's got 75 caps for England and he's been there and he's played at the highest level, which that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying. I mean, when for Celtic, I would say Fraser Foster was better than Joe Hart. But when it comes to the end of their career and things like that, that's all I'm saying. But I do agree with you. But he was younger. Fraser Foster was younger when he was at Celtic than what Joe Hart is now. We've got Joe Hart at the end of his career. Would Joe Hart have been better for Celtic if he was the same age as what Fraser Foster was? So you've got to, when you look at the age differences and things like that, there's all sorts of statistics that you can look into. But yeah. 1888 CFC, Celtic fans blind or just ignore what's happening with what's happening. He's behind you. Right, I'm just getting into silly nonsense mode now. I'm going to end up just doing, I can hear you, I can hear you. Rangers are shite, Rangers are shite, Rangers are shite, Rangers are shite. Anyway, up the game again. If you're still watching after the last 2 minutes, good on you. Paul Baird, Joe Hart has given a young boy, the ball boy in Spain was embarrassing. Yes. Paul, were you at this side? Were you at this side of the pitch? Because that's the side I was at, and giving it to the ball boy was just absolutely. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Champions League isn't our level. It's happened. Let's move forward. If it continues, then pray for a riot. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Oh, that's what I say. Although it was great winning the Scottish Cup the last game of the season. Yeah, it is always great winning the Scottish. I want the Scottish Cup. It's our Scottish Cup. Reese, I've been saying that for years. Kind of stand a lot of. It is soul destroying. It is soul destroying, the Champions League. And I've noticed a lot of my mates were like, when they got home and they're watching Champions League games on the telly, they're saying, Champions League good when Celtic's not on it. It's good to watch when Celtic's not on it. It's your time, says Mikey Johnson. Mikey Johnson. What happened to Stephen having after his prediction? No idea. Michael, if we win the title, if we don't, Rodgers will be off-ski. We will win the title. We will win the title. Here we go. The crazy predictions. Yes. Since Lowell's come back, the club things have went tits up. John, I'm not going to disagree with that. And I'm sure that I was the one that first came out with when Peter Lawwell walks in, ambition walks out. Question: O'Neill, Strachan, Lennon, Rodgers, who's the only manager of that four to have won away in the Champions League away? Answer: only Rodgers. Only Rodgers. And Rodgers gets the most stick because he's current. So Lenny worked. No, because that was Europa, wasn't it? That was Europa that Lenny won away at Lazio. It was in the Europa League. Shows over to this. Have Livy screen froze. John, it's not. The screen hasn't froze. I remember 20 years ago we were feared in Europe. 20 years ago we were feared in Europe. It was 20 years ago we were feared in Europe. Tilo is the hidden gem. He's actually hiding up here somewhere. Maybe up here. Spin the world and see. We need a goalkeeper left back, and left back Jota and another striker, either from Aberdeen or the Watery Farts. Do we want to really go down that road and take their players? Was that Parkhead? Not confident. Not confident. You're not confident just now. Let's see. Avatar Baz was taken to the bar 67. Gallagher years ago. Well, there you go. There you go. Nothing to lose in Europe now. Nothing to lose in Europe, apart from our dignity. We might as well go for it. I think we'd be as well going for it. But then, well, if you go for it, we can't get opened up at the back any worse than what we did the other night. Martin, who is an hour and a bit late into it, 1888 is a bun. Come on. Martin says, evening, folks. The squad wasn't strengthened. Mate, you're absolutely right. The squad wasn't strengthened at all. We brought in prospects. And start listening to Brendan Rodgers' interviews every week, because he keeps on talking about prospects, and potential. And I think this is something that's been drilled down from above. That's the only thing that I can think about. And he's hitting back indirectly to the Celtic board, who will sit down and watch his TV conferences to see what he's saying, and they'll be seeing that he's hitting back at them. They'll be saying, "Look, we need better results," and he's like, "Well, you're buying in this potential." So it's all about potential. I don't know. I think there's a lot of mind games going on in the back at Celtic somewhere. Yeah, Baz, do you remember what you've been there? What? I need a drink. Pam, good evening. Good evening, Pam. We can't score some goals. Yes. We couldn't even score against Hibs. Kilo is the hidden gem. McGregor has been below par. Remember being in Paris when we lost 7-1 under Brendan Rodgers. God, Paul, you just try to ruin my Friday night even more. Cheers. Nothing changes, Celtic. Win all the major trophies at home and they get brought down to earth in Europe. So let's go for the Holy Grail in 10 in a row. I don't know if a 10 in a row would actually excite me now. I'm being perfectly honest. I think would a 10 in a row, would getting to it and achieving a third 9 in a row really get down to you and really feel that the club's achieved something? I'm being honest. I'm being honest here. Do you think I'm going to jump through all the comments? So all the next comments is going to be about a road to another 9 in a row. Would that paper over the cracks of everything in Europe? Would that make you feel better? Getting to another 3 in a row and maybe even getting the 10 in a row this time. Would that make you feel better? Would that make everything okay? I'm just sorry for jumping through all your comments. I want to get to these newest ones. I want 20 in a row. Yes, stop calling Huns, just respect their opinions. Anyone tell me how to get a picture of my avatar? John, you need to do it through Google. You need to do it through Google. Go into your... Oh, wait 2 seconds. See what I can do here for you. I've not got time for this. No, you do it through Google. Your Google login. Then just play a game. There we go, 20 in a row. Here we need to keep the faith. We played the World Cup and Champions League. Paul Peard, I probably missed your comment. It's telling the fact though, Baz. Rodgers handed Celtic some of our worst defeat in Europe's first time here. And now 4 games this season, 3 losses. And a draw at home. Hopeless Rodgers. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Joseph, I'm not even putting your comments up anymore. I want progress in Europe. Yeah, Michael, I want that as well. I think that winning trebles has been absolutely amazing. And having went to games through Brendan's first stint here and having a season ticket for as long as I did and winning trebles was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But when it comes to it, when you go to away trips in Europe and you're spending a lot of good money, it gets to be, it's hard. Do you know what I mean? And I know a lot of boys that have just chucked it. I've just chucked it. I know guys that have went to every European game for years and they didn't come to Madrid this one. They were like, no. Correct, Baz. Rodgers chose his words carefully, highlighting prospects. I'm glad people are starting to pick up on that. When Rangers died, we must have tried not blooding our youth players. I think we did. Yeah, John, do it through your Google account. Real Celtic fans allow Celtic fans to have an opinion. They do. That's why this channel is called One Celtic Fans View, so that we can all have our opinion. So there you go. Right, we have been on. The comments are quieting down. There's a couple of starred comments because I thought this was a cracking team that JT Boy put up. Apart from Bain, I think he's maybe lost a plot there. But I would have went for Hart, Alistair Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scale, Taylor, Awata, so it allows Kalmak to push forward. I think playing Kalmak in that further back position is hindering him as a player just now. And I think it's letting him see how bad the team are performing. And I think it's affecting him negatively. I think he excels as a player further forwards. Matt O'Reilly, Kyogo, Pam, and O. Definitely need to get Kyogo and O on the pitch together. Then Reese has one controversial take. He reckons that Kyogo shouldn't start the game at the weekend. The man deserves a rest. A lot of people will say that, well, Kyogo got a rest on Tuesday night because he never done anything. Sean, get your comment up next. Hi, Baz, on the next. Oh, nah, I'm taking it down. I can't even... No, you said that word. If you had said Glasgow Derby, it would have been fine. The next Glasgow Derby game, we should get together in George Square and throw custard cakes at each other. Oh, Jesus. God. Stephen says, back to the real world, Celtic days in the Champions League. Remember the gap is getting bigger and bigger. It's getting bigger and bigger. Thomas is in the chat. Keep the faith for your Celtic fans. 3 points on Sunday. 3 points on Sunday. That'll do me. That'll do me for this evening. Have a fantastic evening.